I want to welcome everybody to the On the Mat podcast. This is a show that highlights high school athletes and also gives these young athletes a platform to tell their stories as they pursue their dreams in life. No matter what the dream is, remember, this is only the beginning. I'm your host, Coach Paul. That handsome young fellow over there is my co-host, Jay. And today's guest is out of Carson High School in Carson, California. This young man finished the season with 1,200 passing yards, 460 rushing yards. He passed for 10 touchdowns and rushed for 10 touchdowns this season as well. He finished as the Max Preps Offensive Player of the Year for Carson and finished first team All-Marine League as a sophomore. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome quarterback for the Carson Colts, Chris Fields, to the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Chris, for you being a sophomore, man, those are some ridiculous ass numbers. Like, that's legit, bro. Like, congratulations on your fantastic season, young man.
Thank you. We're just aiming for better next year.
Love that answer. Hey, Chris, welcome to the show. First off, I'd like to congratulate you on your team's success and your personal accolades this year. It was very well deserved. And this leads me into my next question. What would you say went into your success this season? Not only as a player, but as a team in general.
Just working with what we had. Honestly, we didn't have too many pieces before the season. We had young guys. There were guys that were like, "Oh, we're going to transfer in," that didn't end up like transferring in. So we just had to work with what we had. We made no excuses. We showed up every day to work, and we just made it happen every game. We had guys going down throughout the season, and sometimes we didn't know what to do, but I always went into the game with a positive mindset and the mindset that we were going to go in and win, but not just barely scrape away with a W, but just dominate all over.
It kind of sounds like Carson had a similar problem to like your team, Coach Paul Southgate, just missing guys all year, missing a few pieces for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah, man. It's like stubbing your toe going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, dude. It's the worst pain ever when you're like, dude, I know I have all the I know where the end line is. I know where it's at, but you keep hitting the same wall, dude. It's frustrating. I know what it is.
Yeah. So, Chris, you guys made it to the semifinals this year for the Open Division, and unfortunately, you guys came up short. What is the biggest takeaway from that loss that you will use to drive for next year?
Never not play my game. I feel like that game, I tried to stick in the pocket and really pick the defense apart only with my arm, and I didn't use my athleticism enough that game because I was just like, I was hearing rumors like, "Oh, he can't throw the ball." So I just made sure to try to like show them what I could really do. And honestly, I feel like that costed me in the end.
Okay, so basically, you let the critics get to you a little bit.
A little bit, for sure.
Like a little, yeah. Being a young quarterback, man, that happens, man. And like the fact that you realize it and you know that that's what took you out of like your game, you're already heading in the right direction because next year, I hate to say it, the noise is going to be the same. It's just going to be a little bit louder, but now you know how to face it, and that's cool, man, because young talent like yourself, you guys, like you put yourself on the map. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I've always known about Carson. I've always known what they were capable of, but I did not know that they had a sophomore quarterback that was out here able and capable of doing what you did. So don't let the naysayers get to you at all.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey man, with this was your first year in the city section. Can you describe what that transition was like?
Honestly, a lot of people talk about how competitive the southern section is, but it's nothing like the city section at all. The city section, everybody's like close to each other. Everyone pretty much knows each other, and it's just competition every week. There's no games off. There's no game where you could just be like, "Oh, we're gonna just walk over this team." Everybody is like a rival in the city section almost. So you just have to bring that intensity every week.
Yeah. What is the difference between Lawndale and Carson?
For Lawndale,
like in your opinion, like
honestly, the community was a lot less involved. Carson is like a big old family, like outside of school, at the school, like different sports. Just there's much more support at Carson. At Lawndale, it was just like the football team was our own family, but at Carson, the whole school and community itself is like one big family.
Okay, that makes sense. And having that kind of support, especially at your age, it's very vital to not only your success, but how you guys build camaraderie and you guys vibe together as a team. Um, would you say coming from because you were in the Pioneer League, right?
Yes.
Yeah, your freshman year, right? So
Yes.
being in the Pioneer League, would you say that prepared you to play the competition you faced in the Marine League?
Yes, for sure. That Inglewood game was pretty tough. Um, but Marine League, it's really the energy every game. Every game there was
Okay.
animosity. It felt like you were about to get into a fight every Friday. So
Yeah.
I didn't get that same feeling in the Pioneer League. It was more like this is my
Okay.
opponent, not my enemy. Marine League is like everybody is your enemy.
Would you say? Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Would you say that made the games even more fun?
Yes. Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Marine League, it's this year was a not necessarily this year, but every year it's a great combo of just like rivalry,
Hmm.
great teams. So what more can you ask for a rivalry and two good teams? You know, it'll be a
Yeah.
little different if both teams are like struggling, but every team in the Marine League was in the Open this year. So you
All
wanted to
of
see
them.
Open division matchup,
All of
just go
them.
watch the Marine League. So
All of them.
yeah, it was a bit of a gauntlet, and we'll get into kind of the gauntlet in a little bit. Well, actually, that was my next question. So,
Yeah.
Chris, in my opinion, you guys had the hardest schedule in the entire city section. You guys played Inglewood, who ended up in D1, St. Pius, who were like D6, D5 champions, Long Beach Milliken, North Torrance, who honestly a lot of people kind of sleep on. How much did that gauntlet of a schedule help you heading into league play?
It gave us a lot of confidence. We seen the state rankings and how high these teams were ranked in the state, and we were just like, if we can compete with these guys and even beat some of these guys, we'll be great off in the Marine League. And
Yeah.
honestly, it carried over. You seen we played San Pedro the first time. We played them very well. We kind of walked through the Marine League minus the Narbonne forfeit, but we played with a lot of confidence for sure.
All right. Before I get into my next question, because you just touched on it a little bit, I would say, does your confidence stem from the leaders on your team, or like that you as a leader, but also like, would you say your coaching staff instills that confidence into you guys?
I would say yes, honestly, because they prepare us adequately. So there's nothing that we're really afraid of going into the game. We know what we're going to go up
Okay.
against, and
Mm,
we're just like we've worked so hard during the week. We're like we better win if we put all this work in.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
mm. Now, Chris, you guys where you guys made it close against Inglewood, and I've never really asked any players or coaches, but kind of tell me, you guys obviously fell short in the end, but kind of tell me how that game kind of just ended up, because it was pretty close to keeping a D1 team like Inglewood to two scores. I mean, that's pretty good in my opinion.
Well, honestly, we weren't satisfied because we knew what the outcome could have been, but key mistakes and coming out flat, that was definitely the nail in the coffin in my opinion. I don't want to put the blame on any specific player, but just as a team,
Yeah.
especially like myself, not performing how I should have in the first half, but coming out in the second half and
Mm.
capitalizing on the opportunities that we had. I think I cut out. But yeah,
Yeah.
capitalizing on the opportunities for sure in the second half.
Yeah, because you guys only lost by 14, right? Or two scores?
13,
What
13,
was it?
34,
13.
21.
And they have I think they have like five D1 guys on that team already.
Probably more.
Yes.
They
Team is
probably have more,
stacked.
right? They're
Team is
stacked.
stacked.
But for a fact, I know both their quarterbacks are D1 guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
both? Oh
both
yeah, they had a little rotation. Kingston and this other
yeah,
guy.
Kingston
Yeah, yeah,
and their main quarterback too
yeah,
that
yeah,
came
yeah.
in. So
Wyatt.
um yeah, Wyatt, there you go. You guys played San Pedro in league, and you guys beat them 31-20. And then you guys met again in the semifinals. I know they always say this is it's hard to beat a team twice. What would you say happened in the second meeting for you guys to come up short?
Honestly, I would say we got ahead of ourselves. After halftime, I take that on the chin myself. I was just letting guys
Okay.
go around and say, "Oh, we're in the championship. We're in the championship," knowing that we still had like over 20 minutes of football to play. I was just letting that slide.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a leader, I can't let that happen. So we got ahead of ourselves for sure. We came out and we kind of just played around. And you can't do that with great teams, well coached teams. So that's
Right.
definitely I take that on the chin myself.
All right. Now, have you had those conversations? Excuse me. Hold on. Have you had those tough conversations with the people that are coming back next year already? Like, hey,
Yes.
like this one, okay. How receptive? Like, I don't want to know the conversation because that's between you guys. But how receptive were they to that conversation?
I mean, I didn't really give them a choice, honestly. They had to
That's
There
follow.
right.
we go.
Yeah, because if
Yeah,
you're not if
Okay.
you're not receptive, you're not gonna play on my offense.
that's right.
Chris, can you kind of explain what your relationship with your head coach was like, Mike Christensen?
Man, I love that guy to death. He had all the confidence in the world in me from the first day we met. He was telling me like he's never coached a guy with the ability that I have as young as I was, and that the whole team was gonna just go through me. So he put the keys in my hand, and we went as far as I took them. But you know, nothing but love for him for all the lessons that he taught me, even tough love. Like a lot of coaches that I've dealt with, like when I messed up, they were kind of scared to get on me. He never shied away. He always corrected me when I needed correcting, and
Yeah.
I'll forever have nothing but love for him.
Hey, that brings me to this: is that the fact that you just said that he gave you tough love and that there was certain people that wouldn't do it. It speaks to your character, man, because a lot of kids nowadays, and I call them kids, and it's because they act like kids, they're not coachable. You
Right.
cannot get on them tough because they feel like everything is owed to them. So the fact that you liked it and you received it, that's kudos to you, man, because you're definitely it look for sure you're in the right program. You have the right mindset, you have the right attitude, man, and I love to see that from young men that are trying to do something and make this maybe their career, make this a livelihood, because in order to take that next step and go to the next stage, you have to have those attributes.
Yes, sir.
So good job for you, brother. Good job for you.
Exactly.
Hey, so we got to touch a little on last year. Let's talk about next year. What do you hope to accomplish next year? And we all know the obvious answer is going to be to win it all. So let that be last. But what do you hope to accomplish next year?
Honestly, just you know, small goals every day in practice. Just have everybody on time, have everybody get better every day, have everybody have a positive attitude when it comes to going to practice and putting their all, because something like later in the season when it gets to late October or early November, guys
Mm-hmm.
start you know oh, I don't know about this. I'm cool if we lose because I'm
Skipping
ready to go
practice.
rest. So I'm trying to create a positive practice environment for these guys, and
Yeah.
just start out I feel like we started out the season flat last year. I want to start out rolling, just get it going from the first
Okay.
day, and just keep it rolling the whole season. Honestly,
Now, how do you approach that as the leader of the team? Like, yeah, that's your benchmark. That's what you're setting. How are you going to hold yourself accountable to holding those standards as high as you're setting them?
honestly, I think practice gets really flat sometimes. So just bringing the energy to practice, as far as you know, being okay with laughing and being okay with cracking jokes and just talking trash, but as long as it stays within the confines of getting things done, working hard, and of course respecting authority like your coaches and stuff.
Nice.
Now, Chris, in terms of a team goal, do you see Carson winning a city title next year, open division city title next year?
For sure, no doubt.
I like that answer because I agree too. I think obviously I'm mainly just a city guy, so I just know a bunch of city teams, and I really think if gun to my head, somebody tells me give me two teams who are making the city final, it's gonna be you guys and Birmingham. I just feel like it's you guys both have the perfect amount of underclassmen coming in certain
Yeah.
spots. So look, I'm not a fortune teller, but don't be surprised if in November or whatever date it is, it's you guys versus Birmingham up in the valley.
Yes, sir. Be prepared. Be prepared.
Hey, now, so if we're preparing ourselves for that, how excited would you be to play in that game? Like, just to play a team like that for a championship, because you two would be the two best teams, period.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would low key be a dream come true because as a kid, I always thought about big moments like this. City
Okay.
Mm.
championship, state championship, making big plays in front of my family and being in the newspaper, just having like pictures of me and my friends from guys I grew up with just doing big things. I think that would be a dream come true for sure.
Nice. I love that.
I really like that answer.
That was a dope
Nice.
answer. That's like counting
Yeah.
down in the backyard. 3, 2. Everybody dreams of hitting that game winner. That
Yeah.
is awesome. Dream big,
Yeah.
kid. Dream big.
Manifestation,
Keep
man.
dreaming. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Coach Paul kind of touched on being a leader. How do you think you'll be able to handle the role of being a leader next year? Because maybe this year, yes, you were the QB, but maybe based on seniority, some guys had a little more say than you. But next year, everybody's going to know you're coming back. You were the leader, and now the whole team's going to look at you. How do you think you'll be able to handle that?
Well, last year I really feel like I had to prove myself as a leader because I was so young. But next year I'm going to be one of the upperclassmen, and it's going to be like a given due to the things that I did last year and my grade. So next year I'm going to have it kind of handed to me, but I'm still going to like reinforce the fact that I expect everybody to come work every day, but not be a tyrant. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to be
Yeah,
a positive role model, a positive leader to the younger guys for sure.
that's
Nice.
cool. You have to be. Like, honestly, because would you say that the leadership that you guys had this year was the example you needed to learn how, good or bad? Everybody's got good. Everybody with the good comes the bad. Were they a good enough example for you to take what was good, take what was bad, and just say, you know what? They set the example and they set the bar high, but I know how I can elevate it.
They did an all right job. I would say
Okay.
most of the guys did pretty good, but when it came down to the small details, like at the end of practice running gassers, I would see some of the seniors just jogging in the back and being okay with that, seeing these young guys beating them and just not having any
Yeah.
like any fire, any like competitive spirit in them. And next year, for sure, I'm not gonna. That's just not in me. I'm just gonna go show up
Yeah.
to practice, compete from beginning to end, and set the example for the young guys so that when I'm gone that it'll carry on and the program won't go downhill.
AJ, we finding some gems when we doing this show,
Yeah.
man. You are giving
Some
me
poets,
there's
man.
there man, there's some hope. And I'm not saying that there's like no hope for like some
Yeah.
kids these days, right? But like the guests, like you are just another guest that is, you're a breath of fresh air. Like we don't get to enjoy kids like this anymore, man. And hey, if I wasn't coaching at Southgate, I'd definitely come watch you play. For sure. Definitely, man. You got a
Nice.
bright future, young man, and your head is on your shoulders. Your parents should be very proud of you, man. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Thank you.
All right. So, how can you tell us, or let's go this way? Can you tell us what the rest of the off season looks like for you? Like, I know you were telling me you're going to run track, so and then you could
Mm.
tell us all about that. But what does the rest of the off season look like for you? You have any camps lined up? I know you got another sport going on, and then tell the viewers and the listeners about your extracurricular activities about throwing them hands, buddy.
Oh, okay. I want to hear this.
Alrighty. So basically, what my week pretty much looks like, I have, track Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then workouts on the weekend sometimes. I have quarterback training Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I have 7-on-7 on the weekends, but I think I want to be taking a step away from that. But as far as
Okay.
MMA, whenever like my football schedule is so packed out
Mm.
that I don't really have as much time for it anymore. But whenever
Yeah.
I am able to train, I'm not trying to hit pads. I'm trying to spar. I know a lot of guys are shy about
Yeah.
sparring,
Oh,
but I like to get in there. Shark Tank, it don't matter. I like to throw hands with anybody, any size.
Yeah, buddy. Jay, when he told me that, I was like,
nice.
what?
MMA,
He's
that's
with it. He's
extreme.
not scared.
Yeah.
How do you, how tiring is that? Because I know it's not the same, but my friends, they do boxing, right? And they just tell me, like, just putting your hands up, holding them for like 5 minutes straight gets you gas. So I can't imagine like trying to like duck and all that. How tired do you get if you get tired?
I mean, when you know how to fight and you know how to breathe while fighting, you don't get as tired. Like a lot of guys, they hold in air while they punch, or like when they're moving around, they're not
Mm.
breathing, so they gas out. But if you're conditioned and you blow out the air while you punch and while you're like moving and evading punches, then you'll be all
Hmm.
right. You'll be all right for sure.
Mm.
So let's tell the viewers and the listeners, how long have you been doing MMA? How long have you been doing MMA?
4 years since I was 12 years old.
12 years old, stepped in the octagon and said, let's get it.
Dang, this guy, he's a do-it-all. QB, dual
Hey,
threat,
Yeah.
straight out.
MMA fighter.
At 12 years old, I was not trying to throw hands. Like,
I was playing video games at 12.
for reals, I was not oh, yeah, let's go fight for fun.
Yeah.
So do you have any camps lined up?
I'm trying to get into rivals. I went to the prep red zone
Okay.
camp about 3 weeks ago, I believe,
Okay.
and I'm going to the USC camp. I think I'm going to the UCLA camp, and I might go to some camps out of state at some colleges.
Nice. How'd the prep red zone camp go?
It went really well, actually. I wasn't fully satisfied with my performance, but I did exceptional, and I had the fastest L drill out of the whole camp. So you know, take that as you will.
Nice.
We just setting
Gotta take it.
standards over here. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Chris, before I get into my next question, what would you say was kind of your most complete game? Because I know from what I could tell, you're pretty hard on yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
what would you say your best game this season was?
My best game this season, I would have to say it's between the Paramount game and
Okay.
the Banning game for sure. Because the Banning game, I would say it was most efficient. If I'm not mistaken, only threw 9 passes that game. I completed 6, but I threw for like over 120 yards, and I threw 2 touchdowns. And then I didn't have very many rushes that game, but I ran for 2 touchdowns as well. But the Paramount
Mm-hmm.
game, I threw
Nice.
the ball like 20 times, and I completed like 17 of those passes for over 200 yards. And I rushed for roughly 40, if I'm not mistaken. But also, that team wasn't as good as the Banning team, so I just kind of put
Right.
those in the same
Mm.
category.
I'm
Yeah,
about
you
to
guys
go
you
look it
guys
up.
got you guys got Paramount 36-0, and then you guys beat Banning 45-21. So there we go. That's nice insight. So this will be kind of the last question before we wrap things up, Chris. So as I kind of mentioned when I was talking about the Birmingham and Carson, you guys are returning a bunch of your core skill guys and a good amount of linemen. So how excited are you to run it back next season with those guys and hopefully make a run at an open division championship?
I'm super eager, but I'm also like just trying to be very careful about how I spend my time because I know it's limited. The seniors this year, it felt like at the beginning of the season, I had forever to like play with them, but after the season, I was brought to tears because I knew I wouldn't be able to play another down with them again. So with these guys, I'm just gonna spend the time that I have left with them just working as hard as I can, appreciating them on and off the field, and just pushing myself every day. So I'm just super excited to work with them, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to go get a ring for those guys.
Nice. Go get a ring for
Amen.
yourself too, because you deserve it.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take it one day at a time, man.
Absolutely. So that was going to be one of the last questions, but it kind of jumped in my head as you were answering. What if you could tell somebody that's in your shoes or that was in your shoes, like they're a freshman, they're already at an established program, and they're the guy that is getting faced with like, all right, I think we're gonna move. I think like I have to. I got to transfer. We're moving. You know, um, what is your advice to that young kid that is probably wavering and just like, you know what, like I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, what's your advice to them?
Learn to ignore those negative thoughts. I'm sure that everybody deals with like doubts in their mind sometimes, but you have to look at the grand scheme of things and look at all the positives because, like, there's times where you're by yourself and they just creep into your head, and you just gotta have the discipline to just ignore them, push past them, and just stay on track because it's easy to get thrown off and to quit, but it's a lot harder to stay on track, but it's much more rewarding to stay on track and just keep pushing through everything.
Hey, man, spoken like a
Like this.
true leader.
This
I
might be
like
like
that.
this might be our most poetic episode. A
Hey, for
lot of great quotes in
sure.
this one. I like this
Great
one.
quotes. Hey, man, we're going to chop this up and we're going to use the shorts for days with your stuff, man. That's awesome. Hey, but Chris, we want to congratulate you on the successful season you did have, young man. We want to thank you for coming on the show and blessing us with your time.
Thank you for having me.
Don't, hey, no problem. For all the viewers and the listeners, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If it looked like I was stuck for a second because I thought I was going to burp and I didn't want to do it, I was just like, don't let it out. Hey, no, but hey, this was truly a blessing. We thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Hey, Chris, if you could get one school to come look at you next year before we go, what school, what dream school would you like to have come watch you play?
LSU.
There it is. He wants to be a Tiger, baby. LSU,
Go
if you ever see
Tigers.
this, hey, make your way to Carson, California, and check out this young man, Chris Fields. You will not be disappointed. Hey, I'm Coach Paul. That handsome fellow over there is our boy, our boy Jay. And that young man over there is Chris Fields. Y'all have a good one. Stay blessed. Peace.
Peace.